Hello my friends, thank you all for joining me. Today, I just wanted to do a simple ramble video of talking about a subject that I've been kind of thinking about over the last, couple of nights in bed. Whiny songs. Songs that involve whining, if you will. Now, what are whiny songs? Well, if I were to give a definition, it would be songs that are about like some kind of complaint or angst that is, not justified. If I'm just gonna give a impromptu definition here, um, that's it's good. Like basic songs that are about complaining that are not justified. Of course, best way to do it would give you like examples that I can think of. Probably the best example that I always bring up with in a lot of places would be from Disney's The Little Mermaid, called "Part of Your World." That's a song Ariel sings. If you listen to the lyrics, given the context of the movie, the song is kind of whiny. You see, you have this privileged princess who has pretty much everything she could want or could need, and she's dreaming about going to another place that that is going to be. It's like she has a lot, she wants more. And I'm not the only one who has noticed this. You can go to many message boards or critical reviews saying the same thing. Ariel is one of the weakest princesses, and that song is one of the weakest songs, simply because of how I don't want to say spoiled. That's kind of the wrong word, but maybe entitled she is. And that song is probably I would say the quintessential whine song, if you will, as that song is kind of just a big whine. Of course, not all songs that complain or show angst would be considered whiny songs. Probably the best example of a non-whiny song, I would say, would be "Loser" by Three Doors Down. That song, I believe, now music video notwithstanding, but that song, I believe, is about a drug addiction. That's what those lyrics sound like to me. And that is a serious problem. You can't really compare, a privileged person talking about wanting more to somebody who's struggling with some kind of addiction. I know people who struggle with addiction, so that is definitely a serious subject to be singing about. But you can see that dichotomy. Like if you examine the content in "Part of Your World" versus the content of "Loser," then you can see that there's a significant dichotomy. But what if we get into I would say gray area, like where a song is kind of somewhere in between, where it's on one hand kind of whiny, but on the other hand it might be justified. If we're going by my very vague and sudden definition of whiny songs, where it's angst, unjustified angst, I guess is a good way to define it. And then what would we get to gray area? What would that gray area look like? The reason I was doing this video is because I was thinking about a song from an artist I like named Sarah Borealis, who I'm sure a lot of you know, or Borealis, or however you pronounce it. One of her songs is, now before I don't want to say grill, but before I grill her, if you will, grill this song, I very much like Sarah. I like a lot of her songs. I especially like the songs that don't always get a whole lot of attention, the non-singles, if you will. But one of the songs that really can perplex me is the song "King of Anything," which, by the way, all the songs that I'm referencing will be in the description below, and if I remember, I will put them in a card when I mention them. But I don't always remember to add cards, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, the song the content of the song is about, I believe, someone who I'm not entirely sure what it's about. How do I explain it? It's about someone who I guess is approached by someone else and saying that, I don't know, I don't agree with the lifestyle thing. It's kind of bizarre. And that's why I think it's kind of in a gray area. On one hand, if it's going to take the content at face value, it's like the song is basically self-defeating. Like, it's complaining about the very thing it's doing, or it's doing the very thing it's complaining about. But it's also kind of in a gray area because, I think it might have some kind of not hidden, but the reason it was written. There may be a reason why the song was written. With Sarah's case, I know one of her songs, like Love Song, or that's what's called, right? Love Song. I'm not gonna write a love song. That song was written in kind of protest to the label company because they wanted her to write a regular old love song, which she decided to turn that around and basically she's not going to do that, which I find in a way kind of ironic because they made money off it anyway and it's her biggest hit. So that's a foxhole for another day. But I don't know if the song King of Anything has that kind of context behind it. And before anyone roasts me in the comments, which really doesn't happen because you guys are awesome, but in case someone wants to, keep in mind, I don't always research people when I'm doing videos, especially when it's an impromptu video that I just decided to do. Like, I'm not going to say, well, I'm definitely going to mention this person. And while I did plan this video to talk about this song specifically, I didn't really want to research it because I guess the whole point of Ramble is to just talk about it. But who knows, maybe the song does have meaning. And again, that's why it's a gray area, because it might have a meaning, but unlike, say, Loser from Three Doors Down, the meaning is not exactly obvious at face value. Alright, sorry about the cuts. I have to make cuts from the videos because I live in a rather, for lack of a better word, noisy household. And not everyone in my general area knows I do record, so sometimes I cut it, so in case I do have to cut a video abruptly due to noise, and it's unedited, and it's very hard to edit, I don't lose everything. So that's why I cut things. Not sure if that's anybody cares about that, but, you know, it is what it is. Now, where was I? Okay, I was talking about Sarah. Okay, I was talking about Sarah. What? I guess next thing I can talk about is, let's see here. Maybe define it a little better. Like, I gave a kind of broad definition, but the problem is when you define something, it's hard to when you invent a definition, it's hard to, if you will, quantify it, because it's like, are there things? Is it pure dichotomy, or can some things? There's a simple spectrum. Like, is it just either whiny or not whiny? That's it. And I have to decide if, like, the Sarah song is either whiny or not whiny, or is it more like a spectrum where it's like some things are really whiny, some things are not so whiny, some things are a little bit whiny, some things are a little bit whiny, some things are kind of in the middle, like moderately whiny, if you will. And I guess I don't have to really overthink it too much, because it is my arbitrary definition. But you know, when it's, you know, it's like, I'm kind of a philosopher, so I do think in these sort of terms. If I would have minored in philosophy, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, basically, it's like, I can't really think of a better way to define it. A whiny song would be a song of great angst that's not justified. Like, for instance, Part of Your World, the complaining that song is not justified. Loser, the complaining that song is justified. And in me, a King of Everything, anything, is somewhat justified. Because on one hand, it's like, yeah, somebody coming over to you and saying that is rude, but on the other hand, it's like, we live in a culture now where we always do, like, you know, the slay queen type thing, yes queen, and it's like, writing a song about it seems kind of petty. So it's like, I don't know, one of those things where I'm not entirely sure where I would label it. I guess that's why I probably best if it is a spectral definition, because a dichotomy would not make any sense. I guess the only way to go now would be to give other examples. I guess one of the best examples, we'll go back to Disney, of a truly non-whiny song, a justified song, I guess, would be Belle's song from Beauty and the Beast, when she, after Gaston leaves, her, I guess, called Madame Gaston song, I guess, I don't know. That song does make sense, and while maybe it's not as heavy as some other songs, it does, in context, seem justified. For instance, Belle is not privileged like Ariel. Belle lives a much rougher life, and Belle is being, I guess, wooed's not the right word, but something heavier doesn't make sense anymore. I guess they got messed with a man who she clearly doesn't want to be with, for several reasons. So her frustration does reach a point where she's singing, and that makes sense. She lives in a very, I guess, constricting environment. So that song is actually very good. It's a very good example of how to do something like Part of Your Word correctly. So I guess that's one of the great examples. I do know one band that does make a living off whiny songs. That would be a band called Simple Plan. Now that is an old band I'm referencing. Back in the early 2000s, I remember them being big. I actually remember them. The only reason I remember them is because in one of my Scooby-Doo movies, one of the songs was playing. Probably the most famous song. But Simple Plan is known for doing very whiny songs. Probably the best example is their song "Just a Kid" or "I'm Just a Kid," or whatever it's called, which has a line in the chorus, "I'm just a kid and my life is a nightmare." And I don't even have to go into why I would say it like that. Like, Simple Plan is not good. I never liked them, probably never will. But not for me, they're for teen girls who don't know any better, if you will. So I guess that'd be somebody who, like a Nickelback of whiny songs, I guess. Um, so I guess that'd be a good example of somebody. Again, that'd be a great example of another whiny song that's not any kind of spectrum. A lot of their songs fit in that whiny song. I guess a moderate song would be kind of like the song "Perfect," where it's basically somebody complaining about not being perfect in the eyes of their parents. And it's like that's kind of a in between, because on one hand it's like, good lord, they yell for not taking out trash, but on the other hand it's like, no, this is a really serious issue. Not everyone's parents relationship with their parents are good. But again, I don't. If you give Simple Plan discography, I do not think it's more of a heavier. I don't think it's more of a heavier subject. So I'm gonna say it's more whiny than if we're going by my spectrum idea, more whiny than, say, King of Anything, but less whiny than Part of Your World or Just a Kid. And of course, I noticed that generally alternative rock songs, can be more whinier than most other genres of music. There is a YouTube series done by a commentator called Todd in the Shadows, who does One Hit Wonderland, a series called One Hit Wonderland, where he dissects a one hit wonder song and goes over the history of the band or artist. And one of the things he said when doing the song, I believe it was Alien Ant Farm's "Smooth Criminal," but that could be wrong. I'll definitely have to check that post editing. But he said that one thing about Alien Ant Farm is that they weren't whiny enough for alternative rock. And I'm like, yeah, when you think about a lot of the stuff is kind of whiny. Matchbox 20 was kind of whiny. What else was whiny? Obviously Simple Plan. Yeah, I guess Nickelback can be a little bit whiny too. But that was Nickelback was after like Alien Ant Farm. And I don't know my alternative rock very well. My nice alternative rock, and maybe Vertical Horizon, I guess. I don't know. But so I guess whiny songs are kind of common as what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Alien. Yeah, no, the reason I mentioned Alien Ant Farm was because they weren't whiny enough. That was the complaint. But not the only genre does that. Like, contemporary Christian music is also kind of whiny. And I guess that's a good way to segue into, not only is it unjustified, but if the whining is vague, I guess, if the complaint is vague, I would call it whiny. And that's my problem a lot with newer Christian music, is a lot of it not only is trying to copy more popular songs, like I remember hearing a song that sounded way too similar to Shape of You, but also a lot of the complaint is very vague in Christian music. Not all of them are. Like, some songs are really good, heart-wrenching songs. Probably the best example of a truly angst song would be "Who I Am" by Third Day, as that is a song just basically crying out to, just a cry out to God because of a wretch you are. Now that is very specific and very good, very well done. In fact, Third Day does a lot of great songs. If you're into like a potential, if you're into good music with a good Christian message, I would check out Third Day with many of their songs, as they pull that off very well, where it's not just vague whining. But I guess I guess if I was going to add an addendum to my definition, would be vague, unjustified angst songs. Vague angst songs that are unjustified. That would be a whiny song. If it's vague and or unjustified, I would consider a whiny song. So I guess by that definition, I guess that would be more of a dichotomy, because King of Anything is not necessarily unjustified, but it is vague. So I guess that would be kind of whiny or Perfect from Simple Plan, I guess that would be kind of whiny if I'm going to do an addendum. And yes, I'm sure it is very exciting and sleep-inducing for you all, me going through my philosophical steps I've learned But again, that's what rambling is all about. It's just rambling on, hoping that you guys fall asleep. And if it's boring, that's perfectly fine now, isn't it? As I was getting this next take ready, I just remembered another band. That would be Puddle of Mud. Outside of like their big song Blurry, which is honestly a pretty good song. A lot of their big songs are kind of whiny. So that'd be another example I forgot. And that's what happens when you do these impromptu ramble videos. You don't always think quickly about certain examples. And that's why I'm thinking in this video talking about, I guess, the general breakup song. Now, would that be considered whiny or not? Because on one hand, it's kind of both specific and vague, or it can be both. Breakup songs have a very specific subject, and the fact that they're breaking up songs. They're sad about breaking up, but it's also vague because, like, well, breakup, that's kind of vague. Like, why are you breaking up? How did you break up? What led you to break up? Did you break up? Did she break up? Did he break up? What's going on here? And again, I guess that would be kind of an individual case. For instance, Hinder did a lot of breakup songs that were very vague and general, while Kelly Clarkson has done a few breakup songs that are very specific. In fact, so specific I didn't even know what one of them was about until very recently. So, I guess that's why I'm the only one talking about whiny songs outside of Part of the World, because I guess a whiny song, by a pure definition of whiny song, would be very obvious, while everything else I've mentioned probably is not as obvious, except for maybe Simple Plan. So maybe it's dichotomy all along, who knows. And I'm going to stop using things like dichotomy and spectrum because, you know, you're already falling asleep as it is, right? So, but yeah, I guess it's kind of a silly ramble because this is very arbitrary and doesn't really mean anything outside of my own head, which the voices in there probably needs to stay quiet. So, I don't know, maybe breakup songs, I guess they are kind of inherently whiny because at the end of the day, for the most part, a breakup's not the end of the world. So it can hurt, and if it's a divorce, that can be really bad, especially if you have kids. But if it's a simple breakup after a month, it's like, you'll be fine, it's not the end of the world. But again, I guess it's like, maybe, if I think about it, it would be a spectrum. And I just broke my promise, because I think 2 minutes ago I said I wasn't going to use that word anymore. But yeah, it's like, I just want to talk about whiny songs because I was laying in bed trying to fall asleep the last couple of nights, and my mom was wondering about what to do about a video. I was thinking about, well, whiny songs, and I got some ideas in my head. I remember talking about, I was thinking about the Sarah Bareilles song, and I remember thinking about Part of Your World, which I guess Tangle would be the two songs that got me going on this. So, I guess that's it. Like, I just want to talk about that. Maybe I helped you fall asleep, who knows. So, I guess I'll end it here. So, just want to thank you all very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. All the links to the songs I mentioned will be in the description below. The specific songs, I won't just list like a random Kelly Clarkson song. And if I hope I remember to. If I remember to, they will all be on the cards. So, just want to, actually, you know what? If you're still here, leave a comment down below if you guys want me to end all videos with a mic brushing section. I've been thinking about doing that, but I haven't really pulled the trigger on it yet, because that would be pretty easy and get that video that it would be artificial, but it would get that video length up. But it's neither here nor there. So I just want to thank you all very much for watching. Please share this video and like this video. Those are the best ways to help a small channel like mine. And God bless. Thank you all very, very much for joining.